2020 was our best year so far, but it didn't start this way. So, in this episode, I just wanted to go back a little bit in time and share with you how our year went. How our year went professionally and also what I did in my private life, but also what are our goals for 2021. Because our purpose is to help leaders build meaningful lives and organizations. And I believe in leading by example. So most of the things that we teach you are also things that we implement in our business and that I implement in my personal life also. And so today I just wanted to share with you what went well, what was difficult this year, and also what our plans are for 2021. Now, and if you would like to do a review also of your year at work and in your private life, be sure to go to the show notes of this episode on rebelleaderwithaheart.com/37, because there you will find a free QiLeader year review to help you find more impact, meaning, and balance at work and at home. I'm Murielle, CEO, mom, and educator. I used to work really hard and sacrificed important things to me until I lost my motivation. Fast forward past many failed attempts and lessons learned, and I found a way to reach great results while working less. Today, I'm obsessed with helping other leaders build meaningful lives. So each week, I'll be sharing inspiration to change your life and organization. This is Rebel Leader with a Heart. So, like I said, 2020 was our best year ever so far. But first, let's go back a little bit in December 2019. Because in December 2019, I had a launch. And in my eyes, it was really an unsuccessful launch of my program. And I was just doing a 21-day challenge around abundance with Deepak Chopra. And I was promising myself that whatever would happen, it would be okay. I know I would manage. I wouldn't feel bad. But then I had this failed launch, and while I was in the middle of this abundance mindset challenge, well, I was faced again with my scarcity mindset because I didn't get the result that I wanted. And that stressed me. And that's often because I don't know about you, but I used to be this good student in school. And then I usually got great results in my career as well. And I don't deal very well with failure or with the idea that something might fail. This is something that I really need to work on. This is something I am working on and still working on today. But there, in the middle of practicing this new mindset, I was faced with failure, and I felt really bad for fortunately only 2 or 3 days before I could recover and feel good again. And so that led to starting the year with the idea I don't want to put any financial pressure on me anymore. I have this small company. At the beginning of 2020, we were working there, just my sister and I. But in 2019, we had not so good first 6 months, and then really a very great last 6 months. So that was really nice. And then a failed launch. And so I started the year with the idea of not putting any financial pressure on me. And I went to Spain. A lot of you might already know I have a little house in Spain where I spent, when it's not Corona, I spent 1 week per month there, and also the 2 months of July and August I'm there. And this time I was there with a good friend of mine, Valérie van Geel, and she's also a coach. She also has her own company. And we were there in Spain, and she talked about subsidies. And I was thinking, subsidies for hiring people, that's nice. And I ended up exploring these possibilities. And in the middle of my exploration phase, that was then in February, Well, I just had decided end of December and early January that I wouldn't put any pressure on me, financial pressure on me. I ended up hiring Daphne because during my exploration phase, I had really a great connection with Daphne, and I had these plans to grow and was feeling confident about the future. And because I had this great conversation and could have some subsidies, I decided to hire her. So I decided to hire her on March 1st, I think. And we decided for our first week together, we would go in Spain and work together for 1 week in Spain on strategy, on collaboration. And so we were there in Spain when COVID hit us pretty hard. We weren't even sure if we could get home because the flights were getting cancelled, the borders were getting shut down and closed, and we were thinking, oh my God, are we going to end up here in Spain and not be able to come back in Brussels, me for my children and she for her partner? But we made it home, fortunately. But also, it was quite some stress because I just didn't want to put financial pressure on me, but still I ended up doing exactly that. And then 2 weeks later, they announced the biggest economical crisis of our time. And so we had a conversation together and I told her, you know what, we'll just try. And if it doesn't work out, I will be open with you. I will do my best so that you can find something else and you will also help me in this phase. But if it's not possible, if I'm not able to pay you anymore, we will end this collaboration. So we had this open conversation. But what we also did during this week when COVID hit us, we completely changed our plans. We completely changed our plans and we decided to launch a free 10-day coaching about leading with your heart in times of crisis. Because at that moment, this was something really big happening and it's still something really big. And we wanted to contribute with a free coaching in helping the people deal with their emotions, deal with this crisis, deal with their fears during this crisis. And that was really great because we had more than 400 participants for this free coaching series, 10-day coaching series. And then during COVID, during 3 months, we had 0 new customers that contacted us because everyone at that moment was focused on themselves, focused on organizing their work, on organizing the homeworking, on changing the production and solving all these issues for themselves. So everyone was really focused on themselves. And so for 3 months, we didn't have 1 new customer that contacted us. It could have been quite scary, of course, because normally I have weekly people that contact me. But, this was also a great opportunity for us to focus on launching new things. And so, of course, we didn't have new customers, but fortunately, we had a big customer, Nestlé, that decided to go ahead and implement our program within their whole organization. And we had other customers. We also had the MBA students, of course. So it's not that we had nothing to do, but just no new customers. And so what we decided to do in these 3 months was prepare our future. And in fact, just when I look back at that, it was a great moment because we could really work and move forward without a lot of interruption because we didn't have a lot of demands. And so we could really focus and we did 3. We did 3 big things. The first thing we launched was a leader quiz. And this leader quiz is not just a leader quiz, it's really questions based on all the knowledge that we have from the participants in our courses, and we ask them specific questions, and in function of their answer, they get a leadership type and 7 personalized lessons. And we did that with a completely new website, with Facebook ads, with a funnel, with these 7 personalized lessons. And with that quiz that you can find in the show notes of this episode on rebelleaderwithaheart.com, you will find the link to that quiz if you haven't gone through it yet. With that quiz, we have helped over 4,000 leaders. So more than 4,000 leaders went through this quiz and through the 7 personalized lessons with little videos, with podcast episodes that to really help them increase their impact, find more meaning, and then also more balance. And then we continued preparing because we also wanted to launch a podcast that you're listening to now. So in June 2020, we launched our podcast, Rebel Leader with a Heart. And you might think, a podcast, it's just you hit record and you talk a little bit and that's a podcast, but it's much more work than you can imagine. There are a lot of components that you need to work on if you launch the podcast. But now, by the end of 2020, we have launched 35 episodes so far. So we have a weekly episode and we've had 2,800 downloads of our podcast. And today, a lot of customers or people that follow me or people that go through the course, most of them, they have listened to my podcast. So I love this way of communicating because you really build a connection. You build the know, like, trust. You work on qualitative communication with the people that listen to you. I also wanted to launch a YouTube channel, and I did that, in fact, in 2020, but YouTube is completely different because YouTube is more like a search engine. And so people are looking for something and they find an answer and they want you to deliver that very quickly in a couple of minutes. And so YouTube is great for reaching a lot of people, but is not so great or not as great as a podcast to really build this great relationship because people really listen to you and you have the time to tell stories and to inspire someone. While on YouTube, things have to be quick and you switch quickly to another video if you don't capture somebody's attention. And although I'm very ambitious and of course I would like to have a lot of people following me, I thought that podcast would be better for me because I want to create this kind of relationship that really helps people change things for them. And I don't just want to have like 1 million followers that then don't change their lives because they only watched something of a couple of minutes on YouTube. So we launched our podcast also. And what we also did, so we did the leader quiz with the personalized lessons, we launched a podcast, and we also improved our social media communication. Probably you have noticed I'm much more active now on social media, but we publish 2 to 3 times a week, something to really inspire you and hopefully to also help you learn some new things. So that's what we did. And then half June, fortunately, companies woke up and they started contacting us again. So business started again, and probably all the things we put in place helped us to have some more business. We also had the MBA students who started our program along with another large organization. And then in July and August, I worked quite relaxed from Spain. But to be honest, I didn't have real holidays like the other years, because usually when I'm in Spain, and especially in July and August, there are a lot of parties. They love partying. Every Catholic feast is an opportunity for the Spanish people to have a party. And usually I also have a lot of people and friends and family that come over, and I have quite some great holidays. But this year, like probably a lot of you with Corona, there were 0 parties, and I had much less visit than the other years because traveling was quite difficult this year with Corona, of course, and we all understand why. So in July and August, I batched quite some podcasts and also launched quite some YouTube videos because, like I told you, I still tried to do it, but I stopped pretty quickly because making a YouTube video takes a lot of work, much more than a podcast. And I really wanted to focus on the quality and I didn't want to do something really quickly. And then I came back earlier than planned because I wanted to avoid a quarantine, especially because I had a live keynote early September, when between the two waves we could still do a little bit of live things. So I had a live keynote that was really nice. I enjoyed giving this live keynote and being in person for my work because, like many of you, in the past, I was maybe 80% online, and this year it was almost 100% online. Then we prepared for our next launch. So we launched a 5-day challenge from overwhelmed to focused QiLeader, and it was a free challenge. And there again, almost 700 people joined this challenge. It was really nice, really fun to do. I went live every day also. And unfortunately, or well, not unfortunately, but in the middle of our launch, I had COVID. So I got the disease. I didn't notice it at first because I only got a very small cold. But then I lost my sense of smell, and so I had the test and I had COVID. So in the middle of my 5-day challenge with 700 people participating and having live sessions every day, I had COVID. But it was okay. Fortunately, I only had a cold, and now, thanks to that, I'm immune for a couple of months. Then after the free 5-day challenge, we also launched a new cohort of our improved program, Leading Authentically in Digital Times. So this is really a program where during 3 months, we will guide you in changing your habits as a leader so that you become the kind of leader with more impact, more balance, and more meaning. So you get great results and a better work-life balance. So that was our launch. And in fact, with all the launches we've had with the large organizations that have started, in 2020, almost 500 leaders took our paid programs. So this was really great for us that we have been able to help so many people. Then in November, we decided to have our QiLeader team moment. So we are now Tatiana, my sister, Daphne, my colleague, and me. We are with 3, and we decided to hire a villa in the woods to just isolate ourselves in a villa with a bubble bath and a sauna because we wanted to have some relaxation as well, of course. We had some great time there, and we really looked back at our year and prepared also next year together. And I will have a separate episode about our QiLeader team moment, how we have prepared this, because I think it's really useful for you as a team to organize this also at least once a year, to look back at the past, to look at the future, to look at your processes, etc. And then in December, we decided to improve our quiz and the personalized lessons from our quizzes. And we also decided to describe our main processes because, you know, when you launch an organization, when you start a company, things are not very stable. You're still looking at processes as at a way to make things successfully. But now we are at this phase where we are scaling things. And I believe if you want to scale things, you really need to have strong processes that are automated as much as possible, but that are also described and improved with every launch that you have, with every project that goes through this process. We improve it so that we become better and better and spend less and less time on operational things and so that we can launch new things or help even more customers. So this was our year in terms of things that we did. And of course, during that year, I continued delivering keynotes, mostly online. I also continued giving workshops, there also again, mostly online, and to deliver our online program. Now, revenue-wise, we ended the year with 220,000 euro revenues and 50,000 euros in profit. So it's the first year that we are making profit. So last year we were break even. The year before we were making, we weren't making any money. So this is really great. So it means also that we increased our revenues with 67% versus last year. I wasn't expecting this, especially with Corona and with 3 months where we weren't contacted by new customers. So really, I find this really nice, of course, the revenues and the profit. But what I like even more, and I counted this, is that we have helped 5,500 leaders thanks to our courses, our challenges, and our free lessons. And this is what I truly believe. I believe that profit follows purpose. So we only had approximately 500 leaders that paid for our program, but we have managed to help 5,500 leaders with our courses, challenges, and free lessons. And of course, we also reach leaders through our social media. And this was business-wise. And in my private life, the private life was, of course, not as exciting as the other years because of all the things that we cannot do anymore in 2020 and still today, unfortunately. But I started with Corona, I started to do 10,000 steps a day, to really walk my 10,000 steps. And to be honest, I believe this helped a lot because usually I get my energy from social interactions. I love to go out with friends. I love also to party, to laugh, and all that went away. And so I had to compensate, and I found that doing these 10,000 steps every day really helped with my thoughts. I didn't have as much negative thoughts by doing these steps. I don't know how it comes, but it's healthy for your body, but you also feel better when you walk every day. I also run 2 to 3 times a week, 10K with a friend. I'm really slow. I know a lot of people think, wow, you do 10 kilometers every time you run, but I do these in 1 hour and 25 minutes, so I'm an extremely slow runner. But I love doing it, and I do it with a friend, and we talk. We are in the forest, in nature, and we coach each other also. She's a coach, so this is great. I took some singing lessons also. I really enjoyed that. I did that online, of course. And unfortunately, I traveled much less than the previous years. I couldn't go as often to Spain, and I didn't even travel outside of Spain. But this year was a lovely year because we've had impact on the leaders, but also impact for us financially. We had meaning because everything we do is in line with our values, and we've had balance. And I have balance because I work 5 to 6 hours a day usually on average, and this is great. And so, in fact, I'm really, really happy about this year, but it wasn't perfect. Of course, it wasn't perfect with Corona, but business-wise, it wasn't perfect neither. Because what I noticed, what we miss are the stable, recurring revenues. So looking back, you might think, this is a great year, and I would be happy if every year would be like this. Of course, I would be happy because I have a lot of freedom. I only work a couple of hours. I help people find meaning, and we got some great testimonials from people that said, you changed my life. Thanks to your program, you changed my life. And this is so meaningful and it touches me. But I have to say, financially, it wasn't easy because out of the 220,000 euros, we did less than 60,000 in the first 6 months. And then we did almost 170,000 in the last 6 months. And so that means, and I had the same the year before in 2019. And so that means that by the end of June, if I would have continued my year with the same figures as the first 6 months, I would have ended my year at minus 60 or 70,000 euros. So this brings a lot of stress, of course. So now my goal for next year is to also have these more stable, recurring revenues. But also to continue helping more people, because what we noticed is that for our paid program, Leading Authentically in Digital Times, that we launched with Solvay Brussels School, most people that go through this course are senior leaders, so C-levels, general managers, CFOs, HR directors, team leaders from large teams. So usually really the higher management of organizations go through our course. But when we give our webinars or our free courses, we notice that a lot of people, and maybe you are one of those, they are also looking for more meaning, more balance and more impact, but they don't have the means to pay for a course that costs 1,500 euros. Or they don't want to ask their HR or their boss for that kind of money because they know the answer will be no. And that's why we decided that next year we want to launch a membership. A membership for the people that really want to have a meaningful life and a meaningful organization. And another thing that we noticed is that if you decide to start the course with us, well, it's 6 modules and it's approximately 30 lessons of 30 minutes. So it's quite a big time investment, and we usually give access to one module every 2 weeks. So the leaders that go through our program have quite an intensive program during 3 months. So if you decide to start our program, you not only need to have the money, but you also need to be prepared to spend a lot of time in your transformation. And we noticed there also that although you want to change your life, because a lot of you realize that you cannot continue working like this, you want more humanity, you want to be more connected to who you are to others and have a life more aligned with your values and adapt better to all the changes and things like that, all these great things that you get through the course and this new mindset for the digital times. But that takes time. So it means that you will be committed to really invest not only the 1,500 euros, but also a lot of time in this course. And not everyone that needs this is immediately ready to invest as much time. And that's why we want to launch this membership. And this membership will be really about helping you changing your life and finding your life back, really getting more time for yourself, for your family, while still having great impact and even a bigger impact. But it will not be as time consuming. It will be every month a little bit of content, a little bit of support, a little bit of group coaching also, and access to a community of people that also want that change for themselves and for their organization. So that's why we will launch a membership next year. And of course, we will continue this podcast. And what we will also launch is a free empowerment quiz, because at the end of August, I did also a great workshop for Solvay Brussels School about empowerment. What are the habits and the mindset if you want an empowered team? And I notice also that a lot of organizations, they want to increase the empowerment, especially with the remote teams where you cannot control the people like you used to, which of course I never would advise you to do, but a lot of people were still in this controlling situation. And so empowerment becomes really important and something that organizations want, but only a few succeed. And we really have identified what the success factors are of an empowered team, and we have developed a great workshop and we have tested some things. So what we will also launch next year is a free empowerment quiz with, again, personalized lessons, so that you will be able to evaluate your team, how empowered is your team, and what you miss if you really want to have it even more empowered, more motivated to get the results that you all want. Maybe a last thing, what I also want to prepare is my youngest son. My eldest son is already going to university, and my youngest son will finish school by the end of, by mid-2022. And I have one regret in my life is I have never traveled for a long time. So I travel a lot for holidays. Of course, I have my house in Spain where I sometimes spend 2 months, but I have never traveled like for a year around the world. And this is something I would really like to do. And I would really like to do that while still working in helping you reach meaningful lives and organizations. So we are also going to prepare the business so that I can be a full-time digital nomad by mid-2022. So this is also challenging and exciting, but by the summer of 2022, I would like to travel around the world while still helping you, still having this podcast, and still running this business. And that's what we're also going to prepare already this year, of course, in 2021. Now, that was it for my business. It was an exciting year, not always easy, especially with the abundance mindset. And this is still something that I'm working on. And I'm working on seeing failure or not getting the results that I want as seeing that as only feedback instead of seeing that as failure. But I still have some work to do there. Now, if you want to make your own review and think about your goals because you definitely realize that you need to improve your life, also be sure to go to the show notes of this episode and to download our free QiLeader year review that will help you evaluate your last year and then also prepare the next year. And then be sure to subscribe to this episode. And please, if you have some time, leave us a review. I know I'm asking this at the end of each podcast, but it would really help me get the podcast even in front of even more people. So subscribe and leave me a review. I would be really grateful. Thank you. Bye. Yeah, you finished another episode of Rebel Leader with a Heart. If you want more, go to rebelleaderwithaheart.com for show notes and past episodes. If you love the show, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. The more, the merrier. Thanks for tuning in and have a great week, you Rebel Leader with a Heart.